Alrighty, guys. Welcome back. By now, I think if you guys watched the first video, you guys are know what you're gonna be walking into. So today we're gonna welcome Mr. Anthony King twice now, back to back. You guys know where he finished up at. He took it last year and the year before that, and then this year again. So I'm not sure. I didn't check to see how many times that has been done, but recently, I don't think it's happened, right? In the last 5, 10 years.
No, yeah, I think as far as back to backs go, I think it's only Chris and Andrew and now me. I don't think uh I could be missing somebody and really insulting somebody, but I think that that's it. Just Andrew, Chris, and now myself.
Gotcha. You join a select group and having that special threesome. But you did win in the tougher division from last year, right? As everybody saw, there was that gap in the two divisions, but still it carried on to the playoffs. So congrats for you guys that are hating. Make sure you hate on the comments or privately. But you can't take the title away.
No, no, definitely
There's
not.
no asterisks in it. So if you guys do notice that there's a glare, that's just from the bright ass LA Dodgers hat.
Uh-huh.
That's shining there. But anything you want to say, Anthony, regarding your season, your championship season?
Uh I mean I basically just the thing that kind of kept me doubting, I think, throughout the whole year was just that um I didn't really start off super great. Chris, built up a little bit of a lead against me in
True.
the early going there. And I which is kind of crazy because I was able to start with the season with Acuna and his crazy seed from 2023, and then when he went down, I was kind of scrambling for any sort of offense. And luckily I was able to kind of piece some stuff together. One thing that I feel like I'm feeling a little bit now, after the season is over, is or that a new season is going to start, is that I kind of leveraged a lot of my like role players, I guess you could say, as PTBNs. Josh Lowe's, the Kerry Carpenters. Kerry Carpenter had a really really nuts seed against righties last season. And it would could have really helped me, coming into the year, because that's kind of what I needed, and I had already included him in a PTBN deal, going elsewhere. So I mean, I think once I got to the back half of the season, and I was somehow able to kind of replace Acuna and Spencer Strider as well. Obviously, Yamamoto helped that out. Um, I really didn't make very many big trades at the deadline either. I only got, I think, like Andy Ibanez and I think maybe another reliever, Jeff Hoffman and Andy Ibanez. And Hoffman ended up being playing a major role for me. Ibanez was really good down the stretch for me too, with just playing defense and hitting lefties. And then getting to the playoffs was, uh, I felt like my team kind of hit a good run towards the end. Was able to overtake Chris. Um, Faced Chris in the playoffs. My first round was his second round. And beating the first two games pretty good. Third game, I didn't think I had. I kind of was preparing to lose it, but I ended up coming back and winning. So yeah, then I'm facing Zimbabwe, who Zimbabwe had a really tough team, and it really wasn't even the guys that I would have really expected to do damage against me that I was really, suffering against. Like Soto and Alvarez played well against me, but didn't like light the world on fire. But Jackson Chorio, man, he's so good. And he killed me those couple of games. But yeah, I mean, I think, just end of it. My pitching really kind of pulled through. Um, and I mean, it just shows you, right? Like, offense is king in this league, but I mean, you need pitching. You
Yeah.
desperately need pitching.
Yeah, it's an all-star league, so it's sometimes, yeah, you have to have the guys to fill in, but if you're not at that team one all-star level, sometimes it's tough to hack it. But it is, I mean, the playoffs itself are crazy. So it's a box of chocolates. Cool, man. Um, Well, I mean, moving into the future, you already kind of touched on that. You moved a lot of the PTBN guys to kind of get yourself in that position that to win the title last year. What does it look like for you this season?
So I've kind of made this known, I think, around the league so far. Just maybe it's like a select few people, but I don't really foresee myself being that great of a contender this year. I recently told that to somebody, and they were a little surprised. Um, but I think just looking at the team, right? I think uh, my two biggest hitters, or my two, I guess, like most dynamic hitters, is what I would say are Acuna and Julio. And Acuna is not even going to be able to play for the first couple of weeks, and then Julio and and obviously Acuna's seed wasn't really that great either when he was playing. Julio didn't really have that great of a seed either. His whole season was kind of saved by that last month and a half that he had where he was just his ass was lit on fire, and it kind of ended up not that great. Bobby Witt Jr. obviously is kind of my best hitter now, but he can't do it all by himself. And even Freddie Freeman, who's usually Mr. Consistency, obviously he was really good for me down the stretch. He was really good in real life down the stretch, but comparatively to the last couple of years, he had quote unquote a down season.
Yeah,
Not that it was bad, but it's just not typical, right, for Freddie Freeman. Um, so I mean, I don't really foresee my team being that crazy this year. I think if anything, if I do end up making the playoffs, I think it'll be a back end type of situation. I don't think I'll basically what I'm saying is I think a couple of my guys will have to have some really serious first halves
yeah,
to be
yeah,
able to compete. I think down the line, or at least
yeah.
later this year.
And that is a good note to take away. It's those first halves do impact, which will really if you might start off thinking you're gonna go deep in with the run, you love your roster, and then they take a shit in the first half in real life MLB, and you're like, ah, shit. It is tricky. It is tricky. Cool, but with that said, who do you see as right now and in a good spot to contend to actually win the title, and who would you set up as maybe a dark horse?
So for right now, I think my favorite, I think, to win this year is probably James. I think Pawtucket. Um, I think I'm forgetting what the division layout is right now, like off the top of my head, the new one. But I think there's a lot of guys who are kind of flipping around their, they were contending and now they're not so much contending, right? Like both of us have kind of made that kind of clear, like, hey, like we're not going to be super super high into contention. I know that Andrew's going for it. I think he's got a good shot. James, I know, is going for it. He's made several trades so far. I think he's in my mind got the best shot. He would be my favorite. As for a dark horse, torn between like making the Kaufman joke and
We
and
should
just
just we
saying
should just
him for
we
the hell
should
of
just
it.
say who do you see as the Kaufman?
But I really do think um I would say probably Winnipeg. I think is going to surprise a lot of people this year.
Mhm.
I think he traded for, I think quietly traded for a lot of pitching. He got Michael King from me. He's got Shane McClanahan coming back. He's got some good players. He's got some good pitchers, for sure. And I think he's going to be a team to look out for, as long as he can kind of get his offense figured out. Which I think it's easier to trade for offense and draft offense than it is to trade for pitching. So
Yeah,
uh,
there's less of that.
yeah, so
That's for sure.
that'll be my pick.
Cool, man. No, easy. I mean, and to be fair, everybody, I mean, this year's divisions are pretty evenly competitive. It wasn't like last year. It was like, I mean, we had, I think, like our fifth place team still had would have made
Like
the
90,
playoffs in the other division
like
or
90
something.
wins. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it's nicely balanced this year. So good luck to all you both these teams that are selected there. Now for as far as your secret question, you've seen this already, but the scenario is, of course, you are a prospect that gets drafted into your team, the Dodgers.
Mm.
You work yourself up through the minor league system, and you're doing great. If you could find yourself a nickname based on your style of play, your personality, whatever it may be, your nickname your mom gave you carries over. What would be the nickname that you think would land on you as a professional player?
So, um, the the I've had one nickname kind of from my grandma's side of the family. Chris knows. So my nickname as a kid was Scooter. Um, yeah, they called me that because when I was a baby, I would like scoot around on my butt and stuff instead of crawling around. Um, so I mean, hey, if that's the nickname, that rolls over, that's the nickname that rolls over. I know another kind of
Scooter Jeanette.
Scooter Jeanette. But I know another kind of one of the things that you would ask Chris as well for his question was like, what position you'd want to play, or
Mhm.
if there
Yeah,
was another
yeah,
team, obviously you would want to go to besides your team, right? So for me,
yeah. Once
for
if you
softball,
ended up trading, yeah, if you ended up being traded, where would you end up at? Where would you
so
want to
for
end up at?
for softball, I play second base and first base. Um, and I mean, looking at like what teams, kind of would need, I guess a player in those areas. Obviously, I feel like I talk about them all the time, so I got to mention them here. But like, I would say one of the other teams I like to root for is the Mariners, and they kind of have a glaring hole at both second base and first base. But I think in first base in particular, because they really don't have anybody right now. I mean, I like Tyler
Right.
Locklear. He's a nice player, but I think I think I'd probably want to go to the Mariners. If I was a pitcher, I would definitely want to go to the Mariners. I would say my
Now,
only
as a professional, not meaning like as would you have liked to have been developed by the Mariners farm system as a pitcher? Or let's say you end up like in Detroit or the Giants where like they've had the whispers for pitchers.
so I think at least like looking at like how the Mariners have developed their pitching lately, uh there's a lot less, I guess, like I guess save for Brian Wu, right? There's a lot less like injury concern regarding um I guess like a lot of those guys like Kirby's never had really had an injury scare,
Yeah.
knock on wood, right?
Yeah.
Like Logan Gilbert, same thing.
Jinx.
Same thing for so far Bryce Miller. Luis
Yeah.
Castillo's been super healthy, since going there. Uh,
Yeah.
so I think I'd want to be over there, as a pitcher, for sure. I mean, they obviously seem to very clearly know what it takes to develop pitching and to keep their guys healthy and not overuse them, or whatever their philosophy is obviously working, right. um
Pretty much you wanna come up as Otani in the black version. So you'd be like Rotani.
so i
You play first base and pitcher for the Mariners. There
i
you go.
i I want to preface this. I am not a pitcher. Chris will tell you this. I do not have a strong arm. So I'm cool staying at first base. I'll get on base. I'll hit some slap singles. I'll be a Luis Arias type, except maybe a little bit better defensively. That's what I'll run as.
Oh man. Shoot. All right, guys. Well, don't forget, comment on there, give Anthony a nickname. He's going with Scooter. If you guys know of another nickname that would fit him well for, again, based on personality, style of play, style of management, whatever it is, trash talking, put it out there, whether it's on the post or just in Discord itself. So, Anthony, thank you again for your time, and we'll keep an eye out for the next one.
Alrighty, sir.
See you guys.